Welcome to another episode of Augie World, the podcast. My name is Eric DeLeon. I'm your co-host for today's special podcast episode. I'll be joined today by my co-host, Todd Rogers. Todd is the BIM manager at Walter P. Moore. Todd sits on the board of directors at Augie Inc. as the treasurer and is the editor-in-chief for Augie World magazine. As for myself, I'm the CAD BIM technology manager at Half Associates. I also sit on the board of directors at Augie with Todd, as well as the host of the CAD Manager Confessions podcast, founder of CAD Manager School, and the host and producer of Augie World, the podcast. As we are getting closer to the end of summer, it also means that interns will be ending their internship and headed back to class. So Todd and I today are going to sit down with two interns who have spent the summer with Walter P. Moore in Houston, Texas. So Todd, I would like to give you the honors of introducing your interns.
Hey guys, good to see you again as we see each other almost every day on Teams, it seems. Glad you guys have made it and here. This is the first time we've ever done this, so congratulations on being the guinea pigs for this. So, first, I'd like to introduce Sophia Snap. Sophia is currently studying environmental engineering at the University of Texas in Austin. And Karen is working on her degree in materials and pavement design at A&M University. So you guys aren't going to get in a fight, are you? Longhorns versus the Aggies.
Oh.
So we want to know a little more about your experience working for Walter P. Moore and find out what makes the internship there worthwhile. So we'll start off by asking y'all a bunch of questions and we'll just go with the flow after that, right? So tell us a little bit about yourself, Sophia.
Okay. So, hi everyone. Thanks for having me, Todd and Eric. So I'm from the Houston area originally, and specifically I grew up right by NASA Johnson Space Center. So that was a really cool experience growing up. I had the opportunity to participate in a lot of robotics and STEM-based education, and that's probably why I got into engineering, but I think we're going to get into that a little later. And as Todd said, I go to the University of Texas at Austin and I'm majoring in environmental engineering, focused on waste or contaminant, fate, and transport and water. And I am also minoring in humanitarian engineering. And things I'm really passionate about are infrastructure, public health, wastewater, water, humanitarian engineering. And I've really enjoyed my time here at Walter P. Moore so far.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so real quick here, I'm curious, what that's like a really specific major. And so what inspired you to get into what you're trying to do now?
Sure. So I actually didn't know environmental engineering was a thing until I started applying to schools. Being by NASA, my school had this program called the Project Lead the Way program. We were one of the schools that subscribed to it, I guess. And I had a really wonderful teacher. Her name's Mrs. Jones. Shout out to her. And I took a civil engineering class with her in high school, and it was really fun. And I loved it a lot. And I've always been passionate about the environment, and I guess I love being outdoors and care a lot about, I guess, protecting the environment on a social level and like legislative level, and knew I wanted to do that in my career as well. And when COVID happened, I was a junior in high school, and my English teacher realized none of the assignments he had planned for the rest of the year were going to work for us. And he just said, go and research careers. And I knew I liked civil engineering and environmental stuff. And as I was getting closer to applying to colleges at that time, I started looking more into, I guess, the engineering majors that were offered at a lot of schools in Texas and other schools I was interested in. And I saw that environmental engineering existed and that UT Austin had a really great program for it. And that's kind of how I picked it. For UT, you specifically apply to the major you want to study. It's not just like applying to the school and getting in. So I had to decide on environmental engineering. And as soon as I discovered it, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Cool. They kind of go hand in hand. civil and environmental.
Yes,
Awesome.
for
So,
sure.
so ultimately, what do you want to be when you grow up?
That's an ever-changing answer. I
For sure.
thought I knew what I wanted to do when I got to school, but the more I'm exposed to, the more I realize I see myself being pulled down all of these different paths. I might even want to go to grad school. I'm involved in research at UT, so I and I really liked it. So I've been considering grad school and potentially like getting a dual master's in public policy or public health and environmental engineering. And I really like the civil internship here at Walter P. Moore, so I could
Yeah.
definitely do site development type of work. But yeah, I honestly am not sure. There's so much out there, and it's a really exciting but kind of overwhelming experience getting to try all of it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if the way that you glow when you talk about environmental stuff is a sign of anything, you know, I could definitely tell you definitely light up a little bit more when you talk about that. So whatever it is, I know you're going to probably do an amazing job. So good luck with all of that.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And Kieran, first, start off by saying your full name because I have trouble pronouncing it. We call her Kieran. So, how's your
Oh, yeah,
experience so far? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
yes. So my name is Kiran Mai. So that's that.
Okay.
And yeah, people call me Kiran because that's easy. And okay, I'm born and brought up in Malaysia, Southeast Asia. I completed my undergrad there in civil engineering. And then I was like, I always wanted to do a master's. So, and I chose I'm more aligned to research because I love to do literature reviews and learn new things. So then I chose like so on based on civil engineering, I thought I want to do on pavement and materials because I like to learn about chemistry of materials.
Mm.
And then I did some research and then applied to few universities here and luckily got into A&M, and A&M is known for its research in pavements and materials. And yes, and then I came here. So moving to US was a tough part. It was overwhelming, a lot of emotions, leaving family behind. But then everything was going smooth. And right now in A&M, I completed my 2 semesters with the coursework and involved with research from Texas Transportation Institute, and then landed up here in Walter P. Moore for the summer internship, which is really knowledgeable and cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So what I think is fascinating is that you left all your family behind to
Yeah.
to chase your dream. So
Yeah.
with that said, if there's and I obviously you even said right, it was really tough and all that, but things are going well now. So what if if somebody is in your shoes, right, in another country, trying to make a shift to chase their education dreams and maybe their overall life dreams, and having to move, leave their family behind, leave their home behind, leave all their friends behind, what advice would you give them based off what you know now and the confidence you have in your situation now though? What kind of advice would you give somebody who's like, maybe I'm scared to take that jump, I don't want to leave my family behind, but at the same time you're here and you're thriving? So is there anything there that you would give some advice on or encouragement or?
Yeah, I would say that you face a lot in life. So this is also a part of that. You, like a go-getter, you just go do that. Like you will face some situations, but end of the day, it's worthwhile. So yeah, I would say like just go do. It's okay, suffer a bit, but then you'll be happy later.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, because you have to accept both the emotions, happiness and sad or whatever. So
Yeah.
yeah, just go for it.
Find the balance, huh? Very cool. So, Sophia, what made you want to intern at Walter P. Moore?
So I did a deep dive into the YouTube channel and saw all of these really cool videos that interns made about their experience there and other employees too. Like one guy, I think he was based out of the DC office. So I'm really into humanitarian work and humanitarian engineering. And one guy based out of the DC office, I think did this bike ride and he raised money for Panama or something that was really interesting. And he wanted to go because he had been working closely, I guess, with some organization in Panama, I think, maybe through Engineers Without Borders. It's been a while. I've been so focused on work that I kind of forgot his story, but I do know it really moved me at the time. And also, a lot of other companies I feel didn't really seem like they were open to accepting anyone who hadn't already graduated. Uh, and it was a really, I guess, long struggle to find somewhere that sounded interesting to me, but also wanted to take someone in who's new and doesn't really know that much. I've only completed my first 2 years of undergrad, and I'm really happy that Walter P. Moore took a chance on me, and I feel like I've learned a lot already.
Good. And Kieran, what about you?
I would say accepting diverse people, diverse culture was the first thing, and then not many firms here accept foreigners, but Walter Primo does that. Like, that's really a big thing for me as someone who moved here. That like to start a career, you need to get into a firm, and I'm very thankful that I got a chance here with them. And mostly I was interested more in the aviation projects, and yes, Walter, I was like uh, fascinated with the structural projects they did and also the infrastructure works they did at California. And yes, so I chose it.
Very good.
So here, real quick here. So Sophie, so I'm going to challenge you. So go back to that YouTube video, see what the name of that engineer was, and if they're still working with Walter P. Moore, maybe reach out to them if you haven't. Because I know for me, because you never know when your message is going to inspire others. And so with that, maybe find that person, that engineer, and maybe just give them a shout out before you leave by, hey, by the way, I'm here kind of because of you. you know, you definitely inspired me. So that'd be pretty cool. I know I would be feel very honored if somebody reached out to me. But anyway, if you choose to accept the challenge, just wanted to throw that out to you.
Yeah, I would love to do that. I totally will.
It's
Thanks for
not the same guy that rode his bicycle down there, was it? From up there?
I think it is.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure he still works for us. He
Okay.
rode his bike all the way from there down there. It's like, what? Took him like
Yeah.
2 months or something. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, not only did I think it was really cool that he wanted to do that, but I thought it was really great that Walter P. Moore supported him in doing that.
Mhm.
And that was something that I really cared about as a company that, like, I guess, cares about their people and I guess figuring out how they can work with their employees to achieve what's best for the employees themselves and the company and also the world.
Totally agree. Totally.
Yep.
Wow. So, do you know anything about Walter P. Moore before applying there? Obviously, you did do some research, right, Sophia?
Yes,
What
I
about you?
did.
Did you know
Oh,
anything about us before starting? Did you do any type of research to find out what we were about or anything? Karen?
Yeah, yeah, like I know that the founder and then the next chief was a professor at A&M, I think junior uh more. Yeah, I know he was a professor at A&M, and then I know like many stu like Walter P. Moore has a lot of Aggies, and they did work a lot for A&M.
Very
So
cool.
that, yeah, like when I was looking, how did the company come up? So yes.
Yeah, so for you listeners out there, Walter P. Moore really got started when they built the Astrodome. So that was pretty neat. That put us on the map for sure. And then we've done stadium after stadium after stadium. Pretty impressive. Obviously, we don't get to do any of that since we're in the infrastructure department, but you can kind of claim it.
Yeah, he was a structural professor back then.
Yep, that's right.
And
So, what were your expectations coming into such a large firm, Sophia?
This is my first real internship, so I didn't really know what to expect, honestly. I was a little nervous, obviously. Uh, I I was a little worried that people wouldn't really have time for a measly underling like me, but that definitely wasn't the case. And a lot of the videos I watched on the Walter P. Moore YouTube were from interns themselves, and I got to see kind of the projects that they would do, and I knew I wouldn't just be like running to get people coffee or something. So I kind of had an idea, and I knew that Walter P. Moore would support me as an intern, but I I definitely was a little nervous. But I think it's been great, and I feel like everyone has really made an effort to interact with us, which I really appreciate, and give us real work. And I've been learning a lot, even though I mess up constantly.
That's how you learn.
Yeah. Is there anything that stuck out like you're really surprised that they let you do or didn't let you do? Is there any surprises in there?
Yeah. So last Friday, I kind of, I guess, represented the company at a meeting for the Texas Association of Clean Water Agencies. And, I was the only one from Walter P. Moore there, and I was an intern, and I just think that's pretty crazy. Like, I feel like a lot of companies would be apprehensive, or I don't know, maybe they would think an intern was trying to get out of work or something. Um, but I had the
Yeah.
opportunity to go, and as someone who's really interested in water and also legislation and how engineering and policy kind of intersect, I think that was a really great experience. And I got to meet a lot of people who are on the executive board of some of the water organizations I'm a part of. So that was really cool to kind of attach names of these like semi-famous people within those organizations to faces and actually get to meet them in real life. That was a really cool experience.
Nice.
So, what about you, Karen? What were your expectations when you came into this large firm?
I would say, okay, I thought that it would, uh, it would be like very strict. You aren't allowed to do this. It wouldn't be flexible, and I'll be burned or something. But then it wasn't so. Like I really love the people here and how do they manage the interns, and also how do they respond? Like let's say they give us some work, and yeah, I'm always a, a, a person with a lot of anxiety. So whenever I'm stuck somewhere, I be like, should I ask them or what? But then it happens in reverse. They come back and check on me, like, is it going okay? If it's not, it's okay. You just tell me, I can help you out. I didn't expect this because I thought like it's a large firm, so everyone are very strict, disciplined. I am afraid that if I don't know something, something is going to happen or something.
Right.
But then no. Like I because I have worked I have some work experience and then with some other internship thing. But then like there I had few constraints, but here I don't think. And they gave us the liberty and the freedom and a comfort to ask whatever we have, or they are ready to explain us again and make sure that we are in the right track. I didn't expect this, but that's really very good thing. So that like helps us to like, yeah, okay, dedicate more and work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do you have any surprises, that things that surprised you?
Ev- Like every day it's a surprise for me. Let's say the same thing.
We've done quite a bit of activities with them since they've been there. Went to
Uh,
lunch several times, went to the putt shack and things,
Yeah, like I
Like a
don't think so. Like every week we have a team lunch. Every week I mean, like, oh, I don't think so. Nobody does this to their interns. They don't really. I was overwhelmed. Like, what's happening? Like, is this happening for real? But then I was like, yeah, they're really caring. Like, I know, like who like when we were here in the firm on the first day, they were like, whoever comes and joins the firm, they're like a family, and yes, they mean it, like in their actions and everything.
definitely. That's definitely right. So, did you know anything about the industry before you started? It's a civil infrastructure industry. Sophia?
Oh gosh, I had an idea for sure, but I definitely feel like civil in the real, or not the real world, but I guess the world's greater understanding of civil is more structural than actual
hmm.
like civil and site development, or at least that's kind of what we did more in that civil engineering class I took in high school. It was more beam design and structural stuff. And I feel like a lot of my friends who were civil majors really studied a lot of structural stuff. So I like kind of knew about the industry, but in terms of site development, I knew, someone was planning all of the utilities and somebody was designing how the parking lots like not only looked but kind of how they functioned. And I'm also really big into accessible design. So that's something that I didn't really know that civil engineers did. And just in terms of site development in general, no, I didn't know that much. But coming in, I've definitely gained a better understanding of what civil engineers do. And I think now I can't stop thinking about what we do at work. Like whenever I go get a pizza or something, I'm like, oh, this parking lot is really hard to drive on, or it just rained and now there's all this ponding and I can't walk over there and my shoes are going to get wet. Like they didn't design this well. Or I'll see
Put in with there.
FDC FDC logos and I'll be telling my family like, "Oh, that's a fire department connection." I do that at work. But it's all of this stuff I feel like you see, it exists, but nobody ever talks about it. But now we do, and I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think now that you see it, you can't unsee it,
Yep.
right? And it's really, that's what I love about being part of infrastructure and doing lots of different things. Because just like you said, you can almost, what I call it, once you kind of know how it all kind of goes together, I call it 3D eyes, where you can see potentially what the underground looks like based off of manholes and catch basins, and you saw the fire hydrant and or the outlet and buildings and the road. I mean, it's incredible. That's why I love being a part of what we do too, because like once you see it, like I was big on bridges, drafting bridges and things like that. So as you go by a bridge, you can look at all the components and nerd out of everything that you see. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy. It's now that you know this side of it, you won't be able to go back.
Yeah, seriously. Have you seen the Lego movie?
Yeah,
It's like we're
correct.
all
Yeah,
master builders now.
yeah. So it's things like that. I mean, that's where that's a really great analogy, because I was talking to somebody about that regarding just how to inspire younger generations, and using that analogy is really good because that's really what we are. We're real world Lego builders. We're real world gaming level builders, right? When you go into a game, you know, a video game and you're doing all the levels, that's what we do, but in real life. You know,
Yeah.
it's really cool when you think about it.
Yep. Kieran, did you know anything about the industry before you started interning?
Yeah, I was aware of the industry and what happens in infrastructure works. But what fascinated me was, like I said, I was involved with research and everything. So, like, okay, people have been researching about pervious concrete, different stabilizers, rain gardens, and bioretain. But are they really implementing this or not? Are they putting that into
Mhm.
the design or not? But once when I'm here and I see that it is incorporated into design, I was like,
Absolutely.
okay, it's
It's very
justified.
important. Yeah, it's very important. Those geotechnical reports are super important.
Oh boy, yeah. So here's something for you. Since you're a pavement and materials,
Yes.
right? So you need to work with those guys or come up with your own research to develop those glow in the dark striping, right? Because those guys, you know, so that way it's solar, so that way, you know, traffic stripes. It's solar, so that way at night it glows, especially when you're in places where you may not get city lights and you're out in the middle of nowhere. Anyway, that was one of the things I heard that people do, and they say that they can't. It's not sustainable because it doesn't last a long time. But I think this the first company or the first person you do research and things like that. I think the first person that can create a long how do you want to say it um, high high traffic, heavy duty, lasting, um, you know, glow in the dark paint.
Mm.
You're a billionaire.
Well, City of Houston tried it.
Yeah,
They try to, but City of Houston kind of lacks a lot of, you know, gumption to do things.
yeah. Anyway, I just thought whenever I hear pavement materials, that's the first thing I'm thinking. Man,
Absolutely.
we gotta solve this problem. It's
I
a
can't
problem at
see the
nighttime.
progress.
Anyway,
So, Sophia, how do you think this internship will help you academically and professionally?
So this is kind of unrelated, but still related. Uh, my PI for my research, she was telling me all about grad school and her experience, and she was talking about how she went straight from undergrad to grad school, and she'd be in her classes with all of these different types of people of all ages, all, I guess, educational and technical backgrounds. And she said that everyone who had worked in the industry was able to ask questions and understand things in a way that she could never even fathom at that point in her life because she only knew things conceptually. She didn't really know like how things were working or things how things were being implemented, like Kieran was talking about with her research and how that connects to what we do at Walter P. Moore. And I think that's really something that's going to help me, as I've always been a lot better at things that are more like real world applications. So I'm not the best at theoretical physics, but if you like give me a beam or something, I can understand that better. And I can definitely start to see like, being a master builder, like I'm seeing how all this stuff works in real life now. And I definitely think that that's going to make me ask better questions when I'm in school and just like better understand what I'm doing and what we're learning and I guess how to think, which I think is really important. And I'm definitely really grateful for this experience in that regard. So just being able to understand the concepts better, but not even just the concepts, like this internship forced me to fix my sleep schedule. So, like sleeping and just functioning as a human being too. Those are definitely skills that, are important. Maybe they shouldn't be skills because they're pretty baseline, but um, like I guess time management and taking also the importance of like taking breaks and taking time for myself after work. Um, those are things that are really important too that I've gained from this. So yeah.
What about you, Kieran? You think this internship will help you academically and professionally?
So let's say academically, maybe looking at um, the challenges here the engineers are facing, maybe I can go back and do some research on that. I mean, do some study on that and see how could that be solved, not solved, but what factors, determine the factors which could help to improve that. And professionally, it would be like getting exposure to work culture in a different country. So yes, that's it.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So really quick on that perspective, what's what are some nuances that you see, working, you know, um, culturally, right? Being back home and being here in the States, what's something big that sticks out that maybe we do or you guys do better or worse or however, anything stick out that makes the difference?
I would say freedom and flexibility again. Yeah.
So back home, then it's more the workplace is more structured.
Yeah, it's it's more structured. I wouldn't say like we are supposed to do our 8 hours, so it can be 9 to 6 or 8 to 5 until we do our work and deliver it correctly. But then back there, if you're 8 to 5, you have to be at the office at 8 o'clock and complete or work for over long. So yeah, that's a bit stressful. Sometimes you can't be there at right at 8. Um, and then a lot of stuff. So
Yeah,
you have that
there are
freedom and
places
flexibility, which
like
is
that.
really important because to work efficiently, you will have to have that energy and a happy mind. Like, hey, I'm going to work, but not like, no. So yeah, that's one thing.
There are places like that here. I've
Correct.
worked, there's some very strict places, and there's a lot of places that, they're constantly over your shoulder, and it's not a healthy environment for work. You don't enjoy going to work. Like I enjoy going to work here at Walter P. Moore. It's like you guys said, it's very family oriented to be such a large firm, and they just make you feel comfortable with everything. They're not constantly breathing down your neck or behind your back, I'm watching everything you're doing. So it's very unhealthy work environment when you're stuck in a place like that. And I have been there a few times.
Yeah, myself as well. And this is a good reminder of as you enter the workforce and figuring as you're interviewing, figuring out where you want to work at once you graduate, ask those questions. What happens if I, what are the standard work hours? Can I come early? Can I come later? If I have an appointment, those little things really go a long ways, and you can kind of see, how they answer. Because again, you're you're committing to working there. You might as well be at a place that you like to go to work to, like you said, Kieran, right? You want to go, and sometimes, like you said, making everybody go from 8 to 5, those exact hours, doesn't work for everybody. Some people are early birds, so they want to be there at 6. Some people just like to stay up later, night owls, so they want to roll in around 9 or 10. End of the day, right? They're paying us to be professionals, so hopefully they can trust us to get our jobs done in the way that needs to get done, on time, under budget, and things like that. But anyway, so those are the things that you see with Walter P. Moore and also other firms. Don't be shy to ask those questions because, again, ultimately, you want to work at a place that you really love.
Hi. So how did Walter P. Moore make you feel when you started your internship? Did they meet your expectations, Sophia?
Yes, they definitely did. Like right when we got there, everyone made sure to, I guess, meet us, which was really nice, and we got to know everybody, and the environment was already very welcoming, and they gave us a tour and let us know that if we had any questions, feel free to ask them, and you could tell they were serious about it. And they weren't just saying that in the beginning, and then only to shut you down later and be like, why don't you know that? So it was super welcoming and fun. And also, they told us that they kind of revamped their whole internship structure in order to make it, or based on, I guess, feedback from the past, in order to make it as good as it could be, I guess, and give us as much exposure and prepare us for a lot of different things. Uh, and I definitely felt that that was true. Immediately, we hit the ground running with these different trainings, and then there were coordinated points of contact for us and different assignments to work on. And we definitely like got a strong foundation almost immediately and also had a lot of time to practice and a lot of different activities to practice with. And that was something that I really liked. And I'm also really happy that they made the program this way because it really just gives us a great experience getting to know all different types of people and getting to work in all these different types of groups and atmospheres, kind of see who we work well with, what works well for us, things like that. And I didn't really have a lot of expectations going in, although I was excited for this new program that they made for us. And I definitely feel like that has met my expectations.
Which group was your favorite to work for or
Oh
work with?
no.
Yep, you're gonna have to pick one.
Uh, well, I like all of them, but
Drum roll,
uh,
please.
Heather specifically, I've talked to her about a lot of the things that I'm interested in outside of, or not outside of engineering, but I guess outside of the typical day-to-day design work that an intern or I guess a graduate engineer would do. So she's talked to me a lot about getting more involved with City of Houston and the policy side of things. So I really appreciated, I guess, her taking the time to kind of figure out what makes me tick and give me advice. And I also just like working in her group in general. Faith has been really fun to work with, and she's really funny. Um, and I really like every group, but that's just been really nice. And Heather's also a woman in engineering, and she's like a team leader, and I think that's really cool.
Then, so which groups for us who don't know Heather? Which
Oh,
group does
sorry.
which group does Heather work in?
So everyone's kind of in infrastructure and civil doing the same types of things. I know some groups focus more on like healthcare projects or university projects, things like that, but I would say there's a lot of overlap. So I don't really know how to explain her group specifically to somebody outside of Walter P. Moore, because everything's pretty similar. It's just I would say the vibes and the
Yeah,
groups are different, like
for
the
sure.
working styles are different, and I kind of, I guess, meshed with hers the most.
Oh, right on, right on.
What about you, Karen? Uh, did we meet your expectations? Yeah, very
Yeah.
much.
What was your favorite group?
So there isn't a favorite group,
Come
but
on.
okay, I would say my favorite group is Daniel's group because I'm under him. Not that, but yes, he's very good.
Yeah.
And like I think I could say people because I mostly worked with Reagan and Faith and Ryan. So yes, and they are from three different groups.
Yeah. What about them did you, I guess, did you like about working with them?
So let's say they give me some task to do, they clearly explain what they need and everything. And whenever I have questions, they immediately answer, or even they would also help me if I had some questions about if someone else gives me a work to do and I have questions or concerns about that, I reach out to any of these three first.
Okay,
Cool.
nice.
Awesome. So is Walter P. Moore a company you'd work for and make a career out of?
Definitely. I know going in, not to this internship, but into my degree, I thought I would only do, I guess, water, wastewater stuff, maybe more city government, working at a wastewater treatment plant or something. But now that I've had this experience, it's definitely something that I can see myself doing. I really love the kind of design work here and the opportunities for growth and opportunities to get involved in things that I'm interested in, just like the policy stuff I was saying and accessible design, things like that. Everyone's also a family. The environment here is really great. And like Kieran was saying, it's really flexible. I take the bus and I try to leave here around between 3:30 and 4. I get here at 7:30 in the morning and I'm trying to beat traffic and also beat the bus line at the bus stop. And I really appreciate being able to, I guess, be in the office for a set period of time and then sometimes I go home and I work. But the point is, it's flexible, and that's just a really great opportunity, especially as an intern. I would think that if you were interning, a company would, I guess, be less flexible for you. I don't really know why I think that, but that's just kind of the understanding I had before coming into the industry. But they're really treating us like everybody else, and that's something I really like. It's not just the work itself that I found I enjoy, but also the people and the company environment itself.
Very good. Awesome. What about you, Karen? Do you think you can make a career out of working at Walter P. Moore?
Yes, yes, I'm excited about their projects and especially their current ongoing uh, development with the aviation projects.
Good.
Yeah.
So, are there any expectations that we did not meet?
I don't really think so. I guess
Let's go.
But hey,
mean,
but Todd, but fair
scary
enough, real quick.
boss.
But fair enough, Todd. When you don't have expectations, you have nothing to miss. I'm joking.
This is true. This is true.
But she can't think of anything. That's good for you guys, right?
Karen,
Sorry,
what
Sophie.
about you?
Sorry about
Is
that.
there anything that we did not meet and you expected us to do? Be honest. I mean, it helps us. It helps the program.
No, like, no,
Yes, that's 2 out of
That's
2.
two, man.
Yeah,
One for the internship program.
kicking ass.
Oh
So
man, now I got to put a sensory on this episode. Oh man.
I knows my coin term. So there's a couple I'm going to skip over here because you've already kind of answered them pretty much. Uh, so Walter P. Moore is a hybrid firm, as you well know. However, you guys were required to come into the office 4 days out of the week to get as much exposure to this industry and company as possible. The teams you worked with weekly were also required to do so to accommodate you. How does that make you feel that the employees at Walter P. Moore changed their schedules from 2 days a week in the office to 4, sometimes 5 at the office to help with your future? How does that make you feel?
Definitely makes me feel really supported and like they care about me and my success. And that's something that means a lot to me and something I don't take lightly. Uh, it's been really hard sometimes commuting, waking up at 5 in the morning and like commuting for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half. So I know that, you know, people are doing that for me and when they don't have to necessarily, which is something that, commuting can take a lot out of your life. So I really appreciate people doing that for me. And I guess getting ready in the morning is another part of it that, you don't always have to do if you just hop on a Teams call and click like the blur filter. Um, So that's something that's nice. It's really just the little things like that that make you feel at home. It's not necessarily this grandiose gesture, but just like the consistent effort to make you feel included and make you feel like they're there for you. That has been really nice.
What about you, Karen?
Um, I would say it's I would say thanks to COVID, it turned to hybrid. But let's say if there wasn't COVID, it was the same. Like you have to come back 5 days and work. But then, yeah, even though the team members have an option to stay back at home and work as they're used to that and they are still productive, but they do come for us, especially because we are here. Like always, we do have, I believe we do have each member from the team every day when we are here uh, to help us. I think that's a very good thing, and we are very thankful.
Well, we definitely enjoyed it. And, unfortunately for me, my son is here for the summers. So I had to kind of stop coming into the office to, make sure he's okay. But a couple more years, he can stay here by himself. I don't care. So let's see. If you could do this internship at Walter P. Moore again, what would you do differently?
I would ask more questions. They are very open to questions, and I know that, as I've said, and I'm not just saying that either. I'm not paid to do this. At least I don't think I am. Um,
This podcast is brought to you by Walter P. Moore
yes.
internship
Stamp of
program.
approval.
Sign up today.
Yes. No, I mean they're definitely open to questions, but I've been in a lot of environments where asking questions is not really encouraged, even at school in my education when I'm supposed to be, learning and these people are supposed to be teaching me. So asking for help when I need it more, that's definitely something I've been trying to improve on in my life in general. Not just grinding away, trying to figure out how to do something through a rabbit hole of Google searches myself when I could easily just ask someone. Uh, so I'm trying to get better at that in these last couple of weeks. And, if I had the chance to do it again, which I would love, just by the way, uh, that's something I would do differently.
What about you, Karen? What would you have done differently?
Um, I would say so. I'll try to learn something which I missed here in this, like which I couldn't give time more in this 3 months. I would learn that then. Let's say shadowing uh, drafters or CAD, and then so go more in depth into that. So
Mhm.
cover whatever I missed here in that part when I again work with them for the next internship.
So, do you feel there was ample support from your peers during the challenging times?
Yes.
For sure.
I think so. We're pretty good at that. You know, even the guys that hit me up at 4:30 on Friday.
Oh boy, that's the worst time to
Not,
do it.
not mentioning any names on that. So are there any improvements that Walter P. Moore can take into consideration when working with interns in the future?
Uh, so overall, no, but for like I guess one specific thing that you could do is I know the program or the program as we know it is new, as I was saying earlier. We're supposed to have a final presentation at the end, and it's pretty open-ended, and I understand that. Like I'm not worried about it or anything, but I think it would be great for interns in the future if there was some sort of, I guess, idea of what to include in the presentation because everyone's just like, oh, tell us about your experience. And, at first I wasn't sure if they wanted us to include specific projects we worked on or just kind of talk overall. So I think just having a little bit of, I guess more guidance regarding that, but, it's nothing to stress over, and I think it'll be fine.
Well, you don't stress over it.
Right.
What about you, Karen? What do you think we should have done differently?
Um, I would say the first 2 weeks were a lot of intensive training, and then we had like on and off work, and maybe we could have, okay, I mean, I don't know, like we are getting paid to work, but then they're teaching us and getting paid. So maybe they can include more sessions of CAD.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
because
definitely what.
in school we don't really have like a separate class for CAD or something. We just get the projects and we do self-learning, and we are like, we have to get a A, try to do it somehow and go. So we miss the small elements. So when we start working in a firm, those really matter. So probably to make the internship program a bit informative and intensive, they can add few CAD sessions, like potentially from the drafters,
Okay.
uh, like Marco or anyone. So like just the basics and everything. Like we did one session, but then I think 2 to 3 sessions would be good. But I don't know if it is acceptable for them to do that because they're paying us
Did
to
you hear that,
work.
Todd? What? What? Taken. Yeah, that's something we are working on. At the moment, we're actually trying to get a new LMS, in line, and it's just had to go through so much red tape to get it. But yeah, that's something that we're wanting to implement in the future. So
Yeah,
hopefully that.
because they do have work like to, but I'm afraid, like, let's say you do that, but uh you are in a graduate engineer, so you doubt if it's correct or not. What if something else changes when
Sure,
something else gets disturbed?
sure, yeah, makes sense. So, what are your goals after graduation?
Potentially going to grad school or going into industry and definitely getting my PE. First, I got to get my FE though. So FE, then PE. Um, so definitely those. Um, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm the first engineer in my family, like including extended family. So I don't know if there's supposed to be something like some career mark or something that I should be shooting for, but those are my goals for now. And I definitely feel like everyone here, even if this internship ends and I don't get a chance to come back or something, they would still love to help me and be really willing to help me get on a call with me and, you know, tell me about their careers and just give me advice and um, just general guidance.
Cool. What are your plans, Karen?
For me, I would say I would like to get a few years of experience in the industry and then continue with my post graduation.
Nice, very cool.
Yes.
Maybe make
uh
it back to Malaysia like Chong's doing.
yeah,
We just
maybe.
lost a very good employee, so he could go work closer to where he's from. Uh,
Yeah.
we're definitely going to miss Chong. Chong is a great, great guy. Uh, well, thank you guys for taking time out of your day for this. I know it's during lunch, but hey, we're flexible, right? You can take lunch after this. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, working with both of you guys. Unfortunately, not being in the office as much as I usually am, when I would have liked to have been there more, but as you know, I'm always right here. Everything, if you ever need anything from me. So yeah. So you want
Well,
to end?
again, yeah, well, again, ladies, thank you for being a part of this podcast. Good luck with whatever you're going to do on your next phases of school and life. Based off of your guys' attitude and hard work, I know you guys are going to do fantastic. So thank you for being a part of this podcast today. And for those listening, thank you for pressing play.